Spider-Man's real name is... Spider-Man's name is...
James the Lesser.
What the...
Hello, and welcome to James the Lesser Express Lane, where we get you in and out as fast as possible. Yep, I saw it at 3 o'clock. First thing I want to point out is, I did not expect the theater to be that packed at 3 o'clock on a Thursday. I got to work at 2. And either people got out of work at the same time, or they called off work because the theater was packed. Not endgame packed, but at least 95% of the seats were filled. There's a lot of 3 people sitting next to each other, gap. 4 people sitting next to each other, seat open. Stuff like that. So it's a lot of, you had to pick your tickets 3 weeks ago, and you had to pick where you wanted to sit. So, I'm guessing, well, I don't want to sit next to my friends, right? Oh, there's 3 spots there, alright, we can all sit there. But that led to a lot of 1 seat here, 1 seat there, 1 seat here, 1 seat there, as groups were separated. Yeah, I was just surprised by how packed it was. When I left, I haven't seen the parking garage at the mall that packed since before COVID. Like, there was a lot of people there, probably to go see Spider-Man. With the amount of lines and the theater when I left, like that specific door, Theater 9, guess what? There's probably 20, 30 people waiting for us to leave so they could go in. Alright, enough about the actual experience, but that's why I love seeing movies in theater, because of the experience. When people are laughing, people are clapping, people are cheering. You don't get that watching a bootleg version at home. Just saying. Anyways, opening credits pretty much starts right off where the movie ended. Spider-Man's identity, Peter Parker, has been revealed. And he's freaking out. He has to pretty much kidnap Michelle Jones, MJ, away from the crowds to escape. I was like, oh, what do we do? I don't know. He tries to hightail it home with her. And I was like, I gotta get out of my uniform, help me. While Happy and his aunt are home. So they hear shouting, like, oh, what's wrong? They go rushing in. They see his girlfriend undressing him. It's like, no, that's not what it looks. That's not what it looks like. It's okay, Peter. This is a safe space for that. Like, no, Aunt May, you don't understand. And like, he quickly gets a shirt on, closes all the windows, stuff like that. And I was like, I don't get it. What's wrong with you? Like, can we just spend like 5 minutes talking about something other than your relationship? There is no relationship. We broke up. Wait, we broke up? That's what I was trying to tell you. Poor Happy. Not very happy about that. But then it's like, oh yeah, on the news. Wait a minute, are those helicopters outside of our house? I'll open up the window and you see the helicopter there waiting for something. Like, alright, well, shit goes downhill for Peter Parker after that. Just saying. You try going to school when everyone knows who you are. You try walking down the street when everyone knows who you are. Try taking the subway. Eventually you take it Spider-Man style instead of, on the train, but like, even that, he can't do anything because everyone knows who he is. The man who murdered Mysterio. At least the world thinks he did. He doesn't, obviously, we know that, but they think he did. Now, I'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, as talking about stuff that's only brought up in the commercials and trailers. Everyone saw the one where it's like Reptile, Sandman, Electro attacking. All of a sudden you see Reptile like act like he got punched. Turns out they did not scrub out of Spider-Man punching him. They scrubbed out of Spider-Man kicking him. Very minor distinction, but yeah. It's all 3 Spider-Men fighting. It was so fucking cool. It was great to see Doc Ock. It was great to see the Lizard and Electro and Sandman, and they got the original actors. It's Willem Dafoe playing Green Goblin. Can't remember the names of the other guys. But yeah, but they got the people. Like, they got everybody to return for their roles, which was fantastic. And one thing I was thinking about on my way home is they didn't introduce a new villain. These are all literally old villains from other movies. And not his. It was just so good. And yes, Doctor Strange does appear in it. but they find a way to make him, I guess, be put on a bus for the majority of the movie after he does his spell. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but we all saw that he does a spell and then Peter Parker won't stop talking. Well, it turns out, instead of doing the spell with Peter's influence and interference, he just cancels the spell, contains, like, alright, you know what? You've corrupted the spell. I can't cast the spell now because you just wouldn't shut the fuck up. Oh, because Doctor Strange was blipped for 5 years and the world needs a Sorcerer Supreme. Wong is now the Sorcerer Supreme. But I guess it also helps open up Doctor Strange for doing things that he wants to do or helping elsewhere because he doesn't have to do the Sorcerer Supreme stuff anymore. Makes sense. And it's a great way to, like, all right, well, why is Doctor Strange involved in all this that's not Sorcerer Supreme stuff? Because he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. Wong is. So yay, Wong got a promotion. But, all right, without giving anything away, it's about 2.5 hours long. And it's not 2.5 hours of action. But the downtimes, they make sense. They add to the drama. They add to the tension of what's going to happen next. Because really, when you're introducing old villains from other franchises and movies, when you're introducing other people from these movies, like, how do you do it in a way that makes sense? Well, they found a way that made sense and made it a threat. So they had to try to send these people home. And therein lies the drama, I guess, the dilemma of the movie. People coming, gotta send them home. But as we saw from the commercials and trailers, well, they all die fighting Spider-Man. Now a lot of people are like, wait a minute, Sandman didn't die fighting Spider-Man? No, but what did the world see? Sandman versus Spider-Man, then Sandman disappears. The world thought he killed him. Doc Ock didn't die fighting him. But what did the world see? Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, and then Doc Ock is never seen again. Therefore, the world thinks he killed him. So going by that information, it looks like Spider-Man killed all of his villains. Even though, obviously, we know he didn't. And, of course, this MCU, Peter Parker's like, well, I don't want them to die. They're villains. They might be villains, but it's my job, it's my duty to save them. And he tries. And I don't want to spoil anything, but he does try. He's a good kid. And I love that instead of going the DC route of, well, in the middle of the woods, so there would be no lighting, so just make everything so dark you can't see anything. No. They have the lighting come from the same place the music does. Thankfully, so you can actually see the fights. And there's some twists. Like the first twist with one of the villains I did not see coming. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then the second one. By the third twist, I was like, okay, I'm kind of expecting twists now. So, like, the last couple kind of fell flat, but, They're trying to make a twist for every villain. For why they're there, what their motives are, because obviously, it's like, well, I want to kill my Peter Parker. You're not my Peter Parker. Do I care about you? I want to get back to my timeline. I don't care about you. I want to do this. I don't care about you. So they had to try to find a way to twist it so that they don't want to kill this Spider-Man because he's not their Spider-Man. Then still find a way to create drama and dilemma between them because it's a movie. It's what you got to do. And no, I'm sorry. There's no Italian guy saying something in Italian to another Italian guy. No subtitles with the perfect lighting. I'm sorry. They don't have any of that. So I guess this is a shit movie. Wait a minute. No, it's not. There is one woman who speaks Spanish with no subtitles, which I thought was hilarious. Because they had to have Ned try to translate for her. Perfect. So without giving spoilers, I'm only talking about what we see in the trailers and expanding on them a little bit. Yeah, you get the villains. You get the action. You get some Doctor Strange. You get a lot of Peter Parkers. They packed a lot into a 2.5-hour movie. But unlike The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, they set up I guess you call it a Sinister Six movie without setting up a Sinister Six movie. Like, one reason the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 fell flat was like they weren't making that movie. They were making a setup for the third one. I said, well, what about this movie? Well, we don't care about the movie. We're worried about the next one. What if you don't get a next one? Oh, don't worry. People are going to come out see this movie in droves. We don't have to worry about this movie because we're setting up for the next one. And then the second movie fell flat, so they never got a third one. This movie set up their villains beforehand. Like, all these guys have already been introduced over the years. So I just got to try to reintroduce them. It's a lot easier to reintroduce someone than to introduce them for the first time. It takes a lot less time. You don't need to set up an entire movie for it. You set up, maybe 30 minutes of a 2.5-hour movie setting up who these people are and what their motivations are in this world. Is it perfect? Obviously not, but definitely an 8 out of 10. As a Spider-Man fan, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, but I'm a little biased because I love Spider-Man. Yeah, but definitely an 8 out of 10 for the non-Spider-Man fans. If you're a Spider-Man fan, 9 out of 10. Loved it. Now, I will get into spoilers, so if you want to cut off here, cut off now. In 1, 2, 3, 4, go. It's... I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. One of the biggest issues people had with this version of Spider-Man was that he was Tony Stark Jr. Spider-Man is supposed to be a down-on-your-luck, normal kid trying to get through school, trying to get through life, trying to get through relationships, trying to pay his rent, trying to be able to pay rent and food with part-time jobs and selling pictures. Like, he's supposed to be struggling. He's supposed to be just your average person who has powers. Well, the MCU version was, all right, well, here's the Iron Spider suit. Well, here's Iron Man stuff. Well, here's more Stark Industries stuff. Oh, hey, you inherited this. Oh, hey, you inherited that. Oh, you don't have to worry about bills. Just ask Happy for a loan. He'll happily, pun intended, give your wife, or give your aunt, although Happy wanted to make her his wife, just saying. Who wouldn't? She's gorgeous. But yeah, he'll be happy to give your aunt some money. Don't worry about it. They fixed it. How? The big twist for the ending is that the original spell was supposed to make people forget that he was Spider-Man, except for a select few, but he kept adding people in with the spell, so Doctor Strange just contained it. At the end, the spell breaks out of its containment. The reason that all these villains and the other Spider-Man show up is because of the spell. It was supposed to make anyone who knew about Spider-Man forget who he was. But since he kept fucking with it, he ruined the spell, they contained it, but things leaked through before he could contain it. People, like his villains and other Peter Parkers, knew who he was, seeping through. While at the end, when the spell breaks the containment, everybody... Remember, it's a multiverse. So there's trillions upon trillions upon trillions of universes. And one of my favorite parts was the Rhino. Not the Amazing Spider-Man with the robot suit thing, no. It's only for a split second, and it's only a bright white highlight, but it was the Rhino. Like, holy shit, they're going to introduce the Rhino? Yes! But to stop all these people from coming into that universe, because they know who's Peter Parker Spider-Man is, he has to cast a new spell that makes everyone forget who Peter Parker is. And I do mean everyone. Doctor Strange doesn't know who he is. Happy doesn't know who he is. MJ doesn't know who he is. Nobody knows who Peter Parker is. So, he's no longer Spider-Man Jr. He no longer has his aunt or Happy or anyone else to help him. So now he's got to get a part-time job. Got to get a shitty apartment. He's got to make his own suits with a sewing needle. He's got to do it himself on his own. So they have returned him back to being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Which I thought was amazing. Because, this is going to be the last of the movies. No, it's not. I heard they've already gotten sent out to 3 more movies at least. At least 3. Which is one reason why they went with someone so young, was so they could have him for more than 3 movies. Now, for other spoilers. Doctor Strange has a way to send everybody back right then and there. But Peter Parker, being a nice guy, is like, no, I want to save them. Well, if they die in their universe, it doesn't matter. It's their universe. Like, no, I can save them. Doc Ock, why do you want to kill Spider-Man? Ah, because he's evil, blah, blah. When he examines them, he's like, oh, the chip on the back of your suit thingy broke, and it's fried. Well, if I fix it, you take back control from the tentacles. So what does he do? He fixes it. Doc Ock is now Dr. Otto Octavius. Ta-da, he's cured. He wants to cure Norman Osborn, who appears as a Green Goblin at first. Then he turns back to Norman Osborn, and he freaks out, smashes the helmet, tries to get away from it, and he sees all this stuff like, Spider-Man. I gotta go to Spider-Man. He can help me. Ends up with Aunt May's homeless shelter, soup kitchen thing. And she's like, Peter, he needs your help. He came to you for help. But he's the guy who blew up the bridge. And all that's like, no. That's the other me. That's the dark half of me. When he appears, I don't know where I go. I just can't remember anything afterwards. Please, you have to help me. Which, I mean, seeing Willem Dafoe, a lot older, about to be in tears over, like, he doesn't know what's going on. Because, like, there's news reports, oh, he went to this military complex, he went to this building, and he's freaking out because Oscorp doesn't exist in this multiverse. His son doesn't exist in this world. So he's freaking out. Makes sense. So, Aunt May talks to him, oh, no, you have all this great power. You have to use this great power and do great responsibility thing, blah, blah, blah. They get there, with great power comes great responsibility, but they have a little twist to it, so it's not those exact words. But they do use that line, finally. But it comes from Aunt May. I was like, alright, fine, I'll try to save him. And Elektra was like, well, I made it of... Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, says I'm a bit of a scientist myself. He says the line in this movie, too. Because he is a scientist. Him and Dr. Otto Octavius recognize each other. And Octavius was like, how are you alive? What do you mean? You died years ago. No, I didn't. Well, in my multiverse, you died. How? You were impaled by your own glider while fighting Spider-Man. And then Electro turns to the Lizard's like, hey, you're Dr. Kirk Connors, aren't you? Yeah. Wait, how do you know me? Oh, remember when you tried to turn everyone into lizards? Yeah, my bad. But he's a scientist. So is Dr. Otto Octavius. So is Norman Osborn. It's like, all right, well, you guys all die fighting the other version of me in your worlds. I want to make it so that doesn't happen. So he fixes the chip on Dr. Otto Octavius, makes a device to suck the energy out of Electro so he'll just be normal. He's making a cure for Sandman. He's trying to find a cure for everyone. Shit goes sideways. Obviously. That's what happens. And part of it is because he fought Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange was going to send him back. He's like, no, don't do that. They fought. He got Doctor Strange entangled in his webbing for 12 hours. And he gave the box and the one ring thing that Doctor Strange wears to Ned. And Ned's like, oh, that is cool. We need to find... Shit happens. Peter's missing. Him and MJ like, well, we need to find him. Nobody great if we could find him, right? And all of a sudden it sparks. It's like, well, what was that? Do it again. I wish I could find Peter Parker. More sparks. Try it again. I wish I could find Peter Parker. Then bam! Portal opens. Now, obviously, they're thinking that it's their Peter Parker. But if you look closely, it's like, wait a minute. That's not his suit. That's the Amazing Spider-Man suit. It's Andrew Garfield. And sure enough, Peter Parker walks through the portal, takes off the mask, and it's Andrew Garfield. It's an older Andrew Garfield, and it's also an older Peter Parker, but it's like, well, prove you're Spider-Man. Really? The outfit's not enough? No. So he just jumps up, with his fingertips on the ceiling, holds himself see, I'm Spider-Man, I can stick to walls. Okay, well, do it again. I wish I could find Peter Parker. And then the Tobey Maguire version shows up, and just pretty much a youth pastor outfit. I'm like, whoa, who are you? I'm Peter Parker. Wait, you're Spider-Man too? I don't really go around announcing that. But then he sees Andrew Garfield like, whoa, hey, you're me? yeah, I'm you from another universe. Andrew Garfield had already figured it out. Like, wait a minute, that means quantum theory. But it goes on all this science babble is all real. So he figured out right away. Like, well, what's wrong? Well, shit happened. Our friend's missing. We don't know what to do. We were trying to find him using this. Wait, using what? Magic. Wait, magic is real in your world? Yes. Oh, that is so cool. But it's like, well, we don't know where to find him. Well, is there any place he would go when he wanted to be alone? I mean, I like to go to Crystal Building. Empire State Building. It has a better view. It does have a pretty good view. Like, it was just funny, like, the two interactions between two Spider-Man was hilarious. But they find they're Peter Parker. And they introduce themselves. And then, MCU and Amazing Spider-Man freak out over Tobey Maguire being able to just go without having to make his own webbing. Like, how do you do that? I don't do anything. It's like breathing. It just happens. It was... God. The interaction between the three is great. And Tobey Maguire, being as old as he is like he's been doing it for a long, long time. Andrew Garfield's like, oh, well, wait a minute. You... Talking to MCU, like, oh, you got a girlfriend? Oh, that's nice. I used to have one. Oh, what's her name? I don't want to talk about it. Honestly, it was Gwen. But then Tobey Maguire's like, oh, I got my own MJ. Mary Jane. Yours? I'm Michelle Jones. Oh, all right, cool. I got my own MJ. She's a bit taller, red hair. Yeah, I didn't, like, just seeing the interaction between the three and the differences from their worlds coming together, I thought was hilarious and very entertaining. But then when shit goes sideways again, but then they're all talking, and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's like, when you've been doing it as long as I have, that Tobey Maguire just has that look like, really? I've been clearly doing this a lot longer than you. Like, then something happened, and I lost someone, and I got angry. And every day I got angrier. And then I stopped pulling my punches. And it's like, stop pulling his punches. Like, oh. If you don't know, in Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock takes over Spider-Man's body. We don't need to go into details. But he does. And that's when he realizes, the only reason I'm alive, the only reason anybody's alive is because Spider-Man pulls his punches. Spider-Man wanted to. He could just go up to Scorpion, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, and go, flick! And crush her skull immediately. But he holds back. Well, when Andrew Garfield Spider-Man says this, you realize, like, he stopped pulling his punches. Like, oh. Yeah, that's not good. But then, like, nothing comes of it. Like, they don't go, oh, wow, that's so bad. I can't believe you do such a thing. Like, they just go on to the next scene, which... That was a bit of a flaw, in my opinion. Like, you have a Spider-Man say, like, yeah, I stopped pulling my punches, which obviously means he started just fucking murdering these fuckers so they don't come back. And the other Spider-Man like, yeah, well, we got more important things to do, I guess. There's one big spoiler. You know what? That is one spoiler I'm not going to give away. I'm not going to give away the big spoil. I want to, I do, but I won't. So you still have to go and see it to see what the big spoil is. Even bigger than everyone forgetting who he is. And I do mean everybody. Which is crazy. Like, they've done it. They found a way to fix the MCU's issue of him being called Iron Man Jr. I'm going, oh, I'm supposed to be broke and struggling and working for change and taking pictures of myself. But I have Happy and Stark Industries at my fingertips. They will just give me money. It's what they do. After all, I helped save half the universe. And now, no one knows. Doctor Strange doesn't know who he is. The Hulk doesn't know who he is. Nobody. So he's gone back to being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Fantastic. Like, wow, they really found a way to get rid of the biggest complaints people had of him being Iron Man Jr. Just fan-fucking-tastic. So yes, go see this movie. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have one hell of a day.